Remember I told you Fisher's opening up? Howdy, Cindy. Hello, Grace. Welcome, everybody. Not yet. I haven't gotten a chance to see that yet, Cindy, but I will check it out pretty soon. All right, howdy, folks. Welcome back. I told you I would be back. All right, happy Independence Day. Two ways of pronouncing that word. I hope you know. Anyways, welcome everybody. Thank you for taking a moment of your precious time to be here with this precious family. If you stuck around for the spiritual report at the end and you seen something that's a little bit extra special that you just don't see everywhere else, then you are part of a very precious family indeed. Okay? And I think some of you know what I mean. All right, let's dance. Here we go. 7/3/2024. 7/3/24. And you can see this big, huge spire region right here is still growing. It's a slow motion, long duration event right up in there. Meanwhile, we had this little activity shootout right there. Okay, and we'll take a little peek at that as well. Okay, so I'll let that loop play for a second. Let your eyes kind of, your trained eye, take a peek at what's going on in there before I start pointing stuff out. Whew. And tonight we're going to talk about the War of 1812. Something that a lot of people don't really know too much about because they didn't teach it in school. It's important to know, especially on, well, tomorrow being the 4th of July. All right, so let's dive on in, shall we? No, let's go a little bit and catch the opening frame. Right about now. Okay, opening frame 024 of July 3rd, 2024. Here we go. You can see that we got this tail end of a little event leaving the screen right there already. Then our long duration, slow motion event going on up here. It almost seems to be that there's something sitting there. And we have plasma, going around it. Then we have this event that pops out down here. Okay, we have this little spire region where it's coming out of. And as you can see, our objects grabbed a bunch of plasma. It's all blinded in this one, but over here you can kind of see as it comes out. Here's a little object right there you can see. Possibly a little ship coming out afterwards there. We're seeing different signatures, like these really deep cuts in the on the instrumentation here. And if you tilt your head to the right a little bit, these things are coming out at angles. Not everything is adjusted for our perspective being flat and level. But this ship right here is at an angle. In fact, let's just get on in there because I could have swore I saw someone standing in the window there. Tilt your head to the right. Here's your ship right here. Almost looks like there's a window right here with a little black head or something poking up in there. Let me go back a frame. Oh, I can't. Let's, where's the thing? Oh, let me pull this back over. Sorry. All right, so we went back a frame. No, let's go forward a frame. There it is right there. Pull this back over. One more frame. There we go. Tilt your head to the right. You can see it. Go back. That was probably our best frame right there. Okay, so there's UFO activity going on around our sun as well. Okay, they grab onto plasma electromagnetically, drag plasma out with them, just like these round spheroid objects are doing. Okay, and then we'll continue on here. Just let me adjust here. Another little event going on over here. Where'd my pointer go? Oh, there it is. Another little event right in here and right here, possibly. Microsoft, you have a problem. Me. Okay, so there's kind of your activity for today. It wasn't much. It was just mainly this little event right here. You can see stuff kind of approaching the sun and going, what looks like going inward up there. We have, I believe, objects that are approaching from the back side of the sun. kind of coming at us, or maybe even from a different angle, coming this direction a little bit towards the camera. And, they interact, bounce off, ricochet off at different angles and stuff. Also, as well as we have UFO activity. They could be going up, addressing the sun, soaking up a bunch of stuff, and then pulling away, dragging, plasma with them. Okay. I'll let you be the judge of that as well. You can come over to this instrument and go through it and look at it. Be the judge of it yourself, A lot of people have other explanations of what's going on, and that's fine. I'll find out soon. All right, let's get started here. Our solar flux indice is lifted only 3 points. That's nothing really, so we're pretty good. We're in the cautionary yellow stage right now, but only 3 points up, so that's good. Our sunspot count number is down 10 spots, so we've dropped to 182. Our area is all good right now. We don't care. Now, what I'm interested is we had no geomagnetic storm today on the 3rd. So it might be slow and arriving on the 4th, or we might not see one at all. Okay, so there are all kinds of little idiosyncrasies that come along with this. Sometimes we see them, sometimes we don't. Sometimes they're more powerful. It depends on that object or what the object is. If it's if it interacts with our magnetic field or not, maybe it took all the energy that it had with it and kept it close by the object, and it never passed close enough to us. It really depends on the trajectory of these events. Okay. Meanwhile, let's get into the solar flux here a little bit, and we'll read about that the G1, the missing storm here in a minute. All right, here's today's box. You can see here's our event. That's the one we just looked at. Here's going into tomorrow. I already looked at it. It's nothing much to really see. This region right here, you can see the shadow of the object. See the shadow casting? It's all bright right in this area, and something's here casting a shadow. You can see it's just kind of parked right here. You can't really see it, but in the flow asymmetries, going around something that's just kind of sitting there. It didn't come flying out. It's kind of parked or just moving really, really slow. And you can see the shadow that it's casting right here. Okay. So that's it for that. Meanwhile, there's your event right there. Let's back on out and finish this off. Okay, so next coming days, no geomagnetic storms predicted or forecasted, okay, which is good. Actually, we might see something on the 4th if this glancing blow, when it's on the outside fringe, sometimes it'll make a bow effect. Well, the front part of the bow, like pretend this is the bow effect right here. The front part of the bow is going to hit first, right, on day 3, but the trailing edge over here is another day or so until it hits us. So it could be lagging and show up a day late. So, oh, you got that, Lizard Hunter. It's good to be in dependence on the Lord. We're going to get into that tonight. You guys are going to love this. You're going to look at your 4th of July in a whole new perspective. And with a whole new appreciation too. All right, let's continue on though. Meanwhile, X flares 5%. It reduced. It says it's growing, declining actually. Energy yet. The event hasn't hit, or maybe is just missed us. May have gone totally south. Still this heart for Valentine's Day. Okay. Your son loves you. And I'll just pull this one up. Is this showing anything at all? All right. Still showing that one going. That's a new one going that way. Yeah, all the old data is gone from the one that was supposed to hit us today. Let's just load this up and see what they got going for this. because I think it's might be a day late. We'll see. Yeah, not showing anything really coming at us. Yeah, I thought maybe we'd see the tail end of the data from last couple of days. We could always go to another site. All right. Meanwhile, let's come back. There's no article here today. On over to spaceweather.com real quick. Your geomagnetic storm watch is canceled or delayed, let's just say, and a CME expected to hit Earth on July 3rd missed, or it is very late. Either way, the geomagnetic storm watch is canceled. A tardy or slow-moving arrival on July 4th is unlikely to cause a storm, okay? So there's still the chance it could be tardy, a slow-moving arrival, because it's on the outside. Here, let me go back to this. Open up the tracker again. Just kind of give you an example. Say, for instance, this bow shock, right? This one coming off right here. Let's get it nice and big for you guys real quick. All right, good enough. All right, it's going this direction. Here's the Earth. Let's put the Earth right here for a second and say the front hits first, right? Well, you see the side strikes a little bit later because it's in this arc shape. So we could possibly see our geomagnetic storm hit a little tardy or a little late, or not at all. Maybe we missed it. Maybe it all went south of us. It's really hard to tell the trajectory of these objects anymore without stereo A being, further away from the SOHO craft. So either way, geomagnetic storm watch for the 3rd is canceled. Now we'll watch carefully. Lansing blow, expected G4 on the 4th. All right, rocket fuel knocks loose in clouds yesterday. Just before sunrise, the Falcon 9 rocket blasted off from Cape Canaveral carrying 20 Starlink satellites. Boy, they're getting a lot of satellites out there, huh? Well, it's because a lot of them are coming down. All right, you can come over there and read the article. Let's get on over to our Schumann resonance right now, okay? So last night when we left off, we had this event. It had tapered off, and we were just beginning to see the first lines of this event, okay? So this event had a little build-up, a release, slight build-up again, a release. You see the little breaks in between the white lines. That's a build-up, release, little build-up of pressure, release, okay? And then as we came out, it got a little weak right there. Some grinding, and then back to normal for a minute. And just recently, we're going back to another little grinding session right here again. Okay, so the 7.83 is fluctuating in its intensity. It's weak sometimes. We have normal, a little strong, very strong, grinding, normal, semi-strong, on, off, on, off, on, off, on. It's like a kid playing with the light switch with your moods. Okay, because this will affect your mood because we all vibrate at 7.83. So when the Schumann gets affected, it affects you guys. That's the reason for a lot of the work that we do in the spiritual reports afterwards is to help you adjust to this kind of activity, and then you will also be prepared for activity later on. All right, so let's get on over here now to our to this. We're just gonna bang this part out really quick. Upper jet stream, lower jet stream have nothing to do at all with our weather anymore. Our weather seems to be being controlled by the thermal pockets in the ocean. Okay. Meanwhile, we have our storm right here. And you see how it's coming through this area just past Jamaica. You see the wind currents here. What direction it could possibly get sucked down into this. All right. We're going to talk about that option here in a minute. But you still see our typical flow is coming across the Yucatan and then up into Texas, all right? So it's kind of likely to follow this track right here for the meantime. What I saw in the thermal is a day late. So, well, no, actually, it should be. It looked like it's caught up with this one. All right, so let's just real quick get through the other ones. SO2 real quick, and then we can focus on the thermal report. Okay, here's country divided, bleeding out on one side, hit and miss on the other. We had a buildup of pressure, then it released, and then slightly increasing again. And regions kind of look for, well, this whole region right here is just still kind of going. We got, flooding in certain areas that plugs it up. We got the fires that are associated to that tonight. Doing kind of a quick report. I want to get to the spiritual report at the end here. All right, so here we go. Just for China's time. There's a lot of SO2. Look how dark these two regions up here are getting now. So we've had two, new areas of perforations opened up here, releasing a lot of pressure in this area, releasing a lot of gas as well, okay? Down here, Taiwan, still pumping out some SO2, probably because we have pressure built up in this region. We haven't had a quake in a little while there, so we need a quake at that fulcrum point to relieve pressure in the area. You can see Japan's really kind of pumping out some SO2 here now, too, as well. There's a lot going on over here. Look at this. It's blowing all the way across the Korean Peninsula out into the ocean there. We're going to put the fires. I don't want to see if there's any with those. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Causing fires over here in China. Big time. And that's not China. That's up in Russia. Sorry, this is China. Yeah, those two patches right there just really went off. Let's look over here real quick, too, at our side. Let me pull up our time. And you can see up here in Canada and Alaska, these plumes spark fires because the gas is so hot when it comes out of the ground. Super hot, can spontaneously combust the vegetation at the exit site, the gas release point, and spark the vegetation in the area and spark a fire. Okay, let's just kind of go down here, look at South America real quick. Get this up here. This area right here where we had some quake activities, kind of cleared up a little bit. It was purple through there until we had our big quake in that area. Yes, we also will have ground plasma coming up from the surface, reaching up too. Here's our fulcrum point. Nice and defined, pretty dark. The other two, well, not so much. This one's faded. That one's still there. So fair amount of pressure in the region. You see it all releasing right through there. So that's good. Let's come on over and just check out Java real quick. Adjust to their time. Take off the fires. All right. So here we are, Java, the Purple Island of Java. A lot of SO2 coming out of this region. Sumatra has filled in. Malaysia has filled in. We got an intense emission site at the tip there. Java doing its duty as the relief valve, relieving a lot of pressure in the region. We have a lot of SO2 little spots coming out of Australia, even Tasmania. New Zealand, not so much. It has a few sites, but nothing like that. All right, so now let's get into our thermal report because some stuff has changed. Okay, this is why it's important that we stay on top of this because it changed. And I'm going to put the wind on too right now to kind of get this whole ball rolling here. First of all, this area right here, do you see this split in these two vortexes? We have had a bunch of heat erupt from the surface here, causing a vortex right here to close off and pinch off this vortex now. Do you see our new configuration because of new heat plumes popping up? Okay, it has changed now. Cold water rushed in. Look at all this cold water in this area now. Cold water somehow came through these straits, rushed in here to be part of the vortex. Like I said, hot water wants to rise, cold water wants to come in and replace it. So here comes all this cold water rushing in, dividing this vortex. It has taken our conveyor belt system, pinched it off in half, and then shoved another whole stream way up here. Okay, that's a huge change in configuration in one day. Just by cold water entering the scene now. All this right here, this whole little pocket of cold water just came rushing in, and kind of see how it's diving in here? It's being pulled in by these vortexes. Cold water is going to come into the rescue, kind of quench this a little bit maybe. And it's changed our conveyor belt structure. Stuff that was, coming over here goes up, and now goes, instead of going straight across here, is getting shunted up north, going up into Alaska, over the whole country, and coming back down into this region, peeling off a little in here. All right, so now over to here, where our hurricane is. So we still have this cold water plume right here. All right. A little while ago, this was back about right where my arrow is here, and we had a pretty strong flow going this way. It looked like this hurricane was about to get dragged into this. But it's moved, another frame or whatever, and now it's looking more like it's in this flow, and it is going to continue to go right up on into Texas. Hopefully it goes over this little cold spot in the land right there, and it takes a bunch of the power out of it, lessens it from a Cat 4 to a Cat 2 or something like that before it strikes America. We have this cold water plume down here that's growing in size. Also, look at this. We have new plumes here on the equator, and look at this new stagger of cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot right here going on at the equator now. A plume there and a plume here just opened up, and that changed a whole bunch of dynamics. Just one little thing like that changes everything. So it's important we continue to watch this, because structures like we're seeing out here, the conveyor belt, has changed too. But meanwhile, we're seeing this split vortex here, a split vortex here. All right. We still have this heat plume taking energy away from the coast and back out into the Pacific. I was almost looking at this. If we were to have some kind of, say, eruption out here in the ocean, the wind currents would keep it away from the land. That would help. And then look at all this cold water around here kind of coming in on the coast here. This plume right here, we still got cold water getting squeezed off along the coast there. But look at all of this, like coming into the rescue a little bit there. And it's changed up this whole, we have a three-way split vortex right here, where it was just the conveyor belt coming around the corner. Now, let's get over to this side. This area has grown in intensity and in size, and has really taken out the strength of the bottom part of our conveyor belt. It's still there, but it's really taken out a lot of the strength of it. You see that? And it has caused a split vortex here in the middle. See the secondary vortex rotating over here this way? Now we have a defined hotspot vortex right here. Okay, it's not so much contributing into the conveyor belt. Look at that. See this break right in here? Remember, we had strong structure going right here. We had strong, well-defined, organized structure right through here. Look, it's being peeled away. We got another storm brewing right here off the coast of Africa here. Or, inside of Africa, not off the coast, my bad. But we have a rotation here that's really kind of pulled stuff away and broken up that conveyor belt effect. Now, watch this, you guys. Careful. You see the rotation going around this vortex, right? And we got another rotation up here. This is pulling cold air down from Iceland and Greenland and mixing it with hot, moist air, and cold air are combining right through that region right there. So, everybody in this region, watch out. You got the setup coming. You got cold air and warm, moist air coming in, mixing together. You could see severe weather, tornadoes, large hail. The severe weather we see here in America, you can see here in England and Ireland and Scotland and the coast of France, Spain, all of, up here, the Netherlands, down to, Spain, France, even see how it goes into the Mediterranean. Kind of splits right here, but that's where you're going to see your flow going, or that's where it's going for the moment. Now, at any moment, say some hot spot pops up here in the cold area, that'll put a vortex here, changing everything up. So a little saving grace really kind of is the fact that this conveyor belt has been broken up a little bit. This thing has intensified and is more northerly. We still have, leave it right there. We still have our conveyor belt effect, but it's getting weaker. I mean, it's not as organized, it's not all the way connected, but we still have it coming through here. You see this pull off right here? This could hit land and get pulled off and come back down. Let's all pray that happens. The one little chance right before it hits the Yucatan here. But otherwise, it looks like it might get pulled up and go up into Texas there. So big changes in our conveyor belt systems just because this thing cracked open more and emitted a lot more heat. So now it's really kind of centralized the vorticity tighter around this area, so tight that it's pinched off a second vortex over here. Okay, so that's good that it's small and isolated instead of a big old yellow bar like this. But you can see that this area right here, we have new perforations caused heat and drew this, instead of coming all the way across, has now sucked it up into this now. So we have a new setup out here in the Pacific, and we have a new setup here in the Atlantic. All right. We still have the potential this summer. We are going to get hot, right? The hotter it gets because of this, it's going to get hotter surface temperatures. More sun will hit it. It'll get, the whole ocean will heat up. And we're already seeing the strongest hurricane on record at this time of the season, as the first one off the conveyor belt was already a record breaker. So hopefully we get some, cold water come in and put this out, or, it doesn't grow too much in size, but the effects of it right now are kind of aiming towards this region. Okay. So everybody in Europe, Great Britain, Scotland, Ireland, all France, from the Portugal, all the way up to, midway through Sweden and Norway. There. Whoops. Is all that area that could be potentially dangerous weather now, because this is hot, moist water or air coming off, mixing with cold, cool, dry air. So it's going to be crazy for this region for a while. And we're going to have to continue to monitor this hotspot. The bigger it gets, the more, it spreads out. If it grows in size and takes up the size of the vortex right here, well, that'll continue our conveyor belt effect. All right. It's going to continue to increase throughout the summer. It's going to get more organized throughout the summer. We will see shifts in patterns, like just because the hotspots opening up. But it's still a good idea to be, back away from the coasts a little bit. See your pattern going. You don't want to be in this region right here if we're going to have hurricane after hurricane after hurricane after hurricane, just one after another come through there. For right now, this little patch of cold water has done a lot of saving grace, and it could possibly divert this, weaken it, and maybe get it to drag across the mountains here and quell it. But you can see all the other flow around it. It looks like it's going to possibly get pulled up in there. So we can pray. Everybody pray this away. Okay, meanwhile, hot spot all over down there. Hot water creeping up the coast of Africa in the middle of winter down there. This is their winter time. This is the coldest water in the world during the winter time, except not right now. All right, earthquake report. Get her done. Deep quake, 4.3, down at 490. It's a little lower than our typical, but still puts 5 energy at the surface. There's a 5 right there. 5.2 right there. A little less on this side because this island's venting some of the pressure. So we saw 5s on this side. It'll probably be a little less on this side. Of course, you can already tell. 4.8 at the surface. Nothing through here. Volcanic activity relieving pressure. We come over to this little deep region here. 4.7 down at 151. If that were at the surface, probably be a 5. But what do we got here? Down at 151. Nothing. These two plates converge right here. Pressure builds up at this point. If it doesn't snap here, it kind of backs up this way, and then finally the path of least resistance will snap. Down at 151, there is a little volcanic island right here, and it is a little ways away from it. It doesn't look to be on the flank of that one, maybe more on the flank of this one that's still underwater. See this one right here? So yeah, more like on the flank of that one right there. All right, nothing through this region, no fulcrum point quakes, nothing up through China, through Europe. Very quiet through that whole section. So let's get over to here. 4.4, it's a little close surface still. Plate boundary quake. 5.1 down at 40 here, right off of Tokyo. So probably rattled them a little bit there. Just up a ways from it, 4.6 energy. We have our hot spot out here, relieving pressure. Quake in between Kamchatka. There's the 4.7 down at 88 in the Kuril Islands there. We did all that. Okay, let's do South America, and then we'll do America, because 4.0 down at 16. Here's 5.3 down at 93. There's energy being relieved. The surface here is thick. Okay, we got a lot of mountains, a lot of thick, tough terrain. So our fulcrum point's right in this region right here. It's just south of it. So a little bit of pressure, almost a fulcrum point quake right there. Okay, let's get into all magnitudes. Get this out of there. Bugging me. All magnitudes, and let's dive in here. Okay, down here at Coco's plate here, we've had a 5.2 at a depth of 10. There's your energy being relieved at the surface. Another 5.3, depth of 10. 2 plate boundary quakes, energy being relieved at the surface. This is energy that can come up this way as well, okay? And then we have a lot of micro quaking in this area, the biggest of them being maybe 2.0 there, 2.1 there. Micro quaking all through the little mountain ranges up in here, all through the San Andreas. The biggest one on San Andreas was a 3.4 today at Pinnacles, California. There's a quaking inside Pyramid Lake. Wow. Okay, so nothing up here at the Juan de Fucas. Oh, wait, we do, yeah. So let's start over here. 3.7. Bunch of little quakes, all volcanic, all quakes right here, volcanic sites. Off of the plate boundary, just little microquakes. I want this biggest one right here, fulcrum point. So 3.2 energy up here at the fulcrum point, coming over, dumped off something inside the fulcrum, a 2. Now, we have energy that has come off here into the Juan de Fuca. Wow. This is off the plate boundary over here, a 4.7 at the surface, 10 kilometers down, surface still. This little flurry right here, it's not right on the plate boundary. It's on this little structure just off of it. These little pressure ridges that have built up from the 2 plates shoving together this whole time. Underneath here, 4.3, 4.5, 4.3, 4.4 with a little tsunami warning. And 4.0. A bunch of 4s right there. Just relieved a lot of pressure. If all of those had been one quake on fulcrum point, bingo, you would have had yourself a good old tsunami there. But luckily, this on this side and this on this side, this is one little plate in this little section here. So some on this plate and some on that side of the plate, the other plate. Relieved energy coming through there, that's for sure. Still a little microquake at Rainier, but nothing at St. Helens. Pressure comes in here, comes down this little line, dumps off inland a little bit. Come on. All right, 2.3, huh? You can see the geysers doing their job, microquaking out. These aren't even microquakes. These are a little bit bigger. Well, they're still pretty small. Not too bad. All right, so again with this spot here in the Bay Area, they're not big, but they do show a little bit of weakness in that zone. This fault line, Hayward Fault, whatever coming through here, showing signs of a little path of least resistance. 2.6 over here in the foothills of Yosemite. Tom's Place has a 1.8. A lot of quaking going out here in the desert. Good. Microquaking through here. So we see this right here. 5.3 energy coming up through the system this way. We have 4.3 energy coming down this way. We've seen some flurrying along here. Looks like maybe it is compensated for all that. Let me just tell you real quick, the possibility for a 4.3, well, let me find the biggest of these. 4.3, let's just stick with that. 4.4, okay, 4.5. So mid-range 4 to 5, because of this 5 down here, possible in this area. We have seen the release of some microquaking, and it looks like it might be just enough. But if it isn't, that potential is there. Your midpoint between this and this, yeah. So you could possibly see a 5, mid-range 4 or a 5 in the Bay Area, okay, or along that Hayward Fault system. Meantime, out here, that's Oklahoma. Way up here in Nova Scotia, 3.0 down at 11. It's way up there. Okay, and the magnitude here, this region is, it came up a little bit. Usually we're seeing mid-range 2s in that area. We saw a jump to magnitude 3, a little mid-range 3 every once in a while. Now here we are with a 4.3 in that area. So looking around the map, we have seen a jump in magnitude all over the place. It's not a lot, but it's perfect. It's that 5 energy. I'd rather see that, going off all over the place than a bunch of bigger magnitude than that. Okay, so there's your quake report. The Earth's doing pretty good at handling this energy. Comes in, we see grinding, we see effects, and then all of a sudden we see release of pressure via earthquakes and volcanoes. Okay, now let's get the volcano report going here. Take that one out, and that one out, and that one out. Let's open up this. Take out that, take out this. And let's get into the volcano report. 33 erupting, 28 in unrest, 61 volcanoes, folks. If I told you 10 years ago we'll have 61 volcanoes going off, you would have said, yeah, you're nuts. Well, 61 volcanoes going off, and I'm still nuts. Now let's get into it. Luatobi, Nevada del Ruiz here. How would you like to see that coming out of the mountain that you live next to? You're like, checking out the view, and all of a sudden smoke and ash starts coming out of the ground, out of some crack in the ground right next to you. That would be a little disturbing. Stromboli, last evening, an increase of lava spattering from the northern crater around the area occurred from 1843 local time, accompanied by a spike in volcanic tremor. Pressure came up, was relieved. Here's Luatobi, 8,000 feet. Semeru pumping its maximum 15. Explosive activity continues. Darwin warned about a volcanic ash plume that rose up to 15,000 and is moving. Okay. Oh, excuse me, hurts to yawn. 9,000 feet out of Dukono. Here's Spur in the Cook Inlet, southwest Alaska. A new small lake has recently formed in the summit crater of Mount Spur. The Alaskan Volcano Observatory informed in its latest bulletin, this observation supports the suspicion that the recent seismic activity had been caused by a small magma intrusion. Magma intrusion from pressure down below. Fuego, 14,000 feet. Nevada del Ruiz, probably pumping something good there. Let's pull open. Today was the 3rd, is now yesterday. Welcome to the 4th of July, everybody. Can we click on it? There we go. All right. A lot of red on that map right there. Crazy. All right, back to Etna. Still going. Ugh, excuse me. Look at that. Whoops. No. This is what happens when the sun has a CME and we absorb a CME. Pressure builds down below. It wants to come up through a perforation in the crust. A volcano is a perforation in the crust, and out comes the pressure. Sverdlovsky and the Reykjanes Peninsula. Okay, we're still seeing activity out of Reykjanes. Sakurajima, Ibu, 14,000 feet. Luotobi, 6,000. Semaru, 15,000. Dukono, 9,000. Fuego, some kind of 1,000. Nevada del Ruiz was probably up about 16 to 20, right around there. Sabancaya, 24,000. Here's your insane lists, okay? All currently erupting. Erupting minor activity. Barren Island, Bizamani, Ducono, Ebico, Erebus, Urda Ale, Etna, Fernandina Fuego, Home Reef, Ibu, Krakatau, Luotobi, Luotolo, Marapi, Messiah, Murapi, Michael in the South Sandwich Islands, Nimiragira, Niragongo, Popocatépetl, Reventador, Sabancaya, Sakurajima, Sangay, Santa Guido, Semaru, Shivolution, Stromboli, Suenosi, Tinakula, Villarica, and Yasur are all currently erupting. And any of these could possibly jump over there. Nevada del Ruiz, we already saw. Klubchevskoy in the Kamchatka. Karaminsky in the Kamchatka. Dempo in Sumatra. Put it over there. Watch out for Ruang, San Cristobal, and even ones that aren't on this list. The latest trend has been, hey, some old volcano that we, hasn't erupted in so long gets added to the list instead of one of these going full blown. Okay, weather and then spiritual report. Bingo. Bye-bye. Next, chew them up, spit them out, knock them down, set them up again. Hurricane coming into Texas. Still showing that on this, so we're still seeing the potential for that coming into Texas, which pray that it loses power over that cold patch, at least drops a category, a magnitude, a category in hurricane terms, okay? Current conditions, nighttime of the 3rd. Here we go. Morning of the 4th. Everybody, the morning of the 4th, get ready in that zone. Noon, convection, nighttime. So we've had a little change. Now look up here in Wisconsin, back down here in Oklahoma for the nighttime of the 4th. Okay, so here's your 4th of July tomorrow. Starting off, still residual severe weather in the center of the country possible by the morning hours. Noon, convection, nighttime the 4th. All right, there's your Independence Day. Okay. Then we continue into the morning of the 5th. Noon, convection, nighttime. Here comes our hurricane. Morning of the, what happened there? Morning of the 5th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the, what happened? Noon, convection, nighttime. All right, they got their timestamps wrong or something. All right, nighttime the 6th. Morning of the 7th, noon, convection. Let's go back here. Why is this all bugging? So that's the convection of July 5th. Then why does it go from 5 p.m. to, we're skipping 2 frames, I guess, here, to 11 a.m. noontime the 6th. So we have a jump in data there, okay? Noontime the 6th, convection the 6th, morning of the 7th, nighttime the 6th, morning of the 7th. Is it me or am I? Okay, these 2 frames are missing. That's what it is. Morning of the 7th is where we're going to see landfall starting, possibly with this hurricane making landfall along Texas. The outer bands, rain bands coming in and pushing moisture into Texas there. The noontime the 7th, convection, nighttime. Up here is a smattering of some of the moisture that was out in front of it, running into the cold air and convecting right there. So watch out for this event right up in here, the nighttime of the 7th. There's the morning of the 8th, noon. These two collide. It collides with its own moisture again and kind of sustains strength for a minute. Noon the 8th, convection the 8th, nighttime the 8th. So it actually intensifies at nighttime the 8th when air cools off. This moist air collides with cooled air. Now it starts to convect again. And there's your nighttime convection, July 8th of that hurricane in central Texas. Starting the morning of the 7th all the way through the 8th. Nighttime the 8th, morning of the 9th, noon, convection, nighttime, morning of the 10th, noon, convection, nighttime. That second storm isn't coming in now. That's good. Morning of the 11th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 12th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 13th, noon, convection, nighttime. 14, convection, nighttime. 15, this is too far out anyway, so. Do you see our convection? Every day the sun comes up, we see convection. Noon, convection, nighttime, convection, 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 over and over and over again. So a lot of water is going to be coming out of the sky. We're talking flash flooding. We're talking large hail and stuff too. Just because you don't see tornadoes and stuff, these things are still doing a lot of damage. All right, so there's your weather for the next couple of days there. Anything past 3 days. We'll watch this closely. I'm sure there's so many channels covering it now. So I'm not going to go into great detail because everybody else got better instruments that can go into much better detail. But what I can show you is what's causing our hurricane setup. Okay. Is our conveyor belt system, these hot spots, magma pushing up through the crust, causing heat plumes in the ocean to cause air vortexes to be stationary over the heat plumes, directing air and weather in certain patterns now. Our weather patterns are being controlled by the thermal patches under the water. Okay? And that's something that they're probably going to catch on to here pretty soon. And be like, why is the ocean getting so hot? Don't tell them there's a bunch of lava seeping up from the floor of the ocean. All right, so there's all that. Now let's get into our spiritual report. Tonight we're going to talk about your freedom, your independence, your 4th of July. Okay? So in school, you all learned it. We resisted tyranny and we came over here to America and established freedom, right? We fought the Revolutionary War, fought the British, right? You guys with me? We fought the British, and we beat them. And we got our country. Whoa. 1812. Okay. So we're going to just do a quick little brief history of the War of 1812. This cool little video. It's like only 5 minutes here, but it's a good thing to understand and know your true history. Does anybody know what happened in the War of 1812 before you learned it at this channel? Okay, let's get into it.
No drawing room was ever as brilliantly lit as the whole city that night.
Let me tell you something here first. Okay, so in 1812, the British came back at us. They came back over here to America and attacked us. After losing the Revolutionary War, they went back home, tucked tail, rebuilt their troops, and came back and attacked us and won. The British came back after we claimed independence on the 4th of July. They came back after us and beat us. Did you know that?
There was a roll of thunder.
At about 10:30 p.m., the men move on to another key government target, the White House. In the dining room, they find the table set. Coburn orders wine poured, and in a sarcastic toast to the president, drinks to Jemmy's health. Soldiers rampage through the rooms, grabbing souvenirs, including a ceremonial sword and a pair of rhinestone buckles. Even Major General Ross pockets President Madison's love letters to Dolly. Outside the mansion, the Redcoats pitch their torches through the windows, engulfing the White House in flames.
The destruction of Washington's public buildings, these fires, the glow of which was seen 50 miles away, struck at the hearts of many Americans, wherever they were.
Every American heart is bursting with shame and indignation at the catastrophe, recalls George Douglas, a militia private. Perhaps no one feels the emotions more deeply than President Madison, who watches the fires from horseback in Virginia.
There was no sign of panic. There was intense concern about making sure the government didn't fold up, and he felt, of course, a responsibility. At that stage, Madison was thinking, where would he find Dolly? Where would the rest of the government be? How could he reconvene them to show that the government could still function and still exist in an effective form?
The next morning, August 25th, the British set the Library of Congress and the Navy Yard afire as storm clouds threatened overhead. But at 2 o'clock that afternoon, two events would transform a burning Washington into a scene beyond comprehension. With little warning, one of the most powerful hurricanes in its history hits Washington. Lightning splits clouds open as gale-force winds tear through the city.
Out of nowhere comes this uncanny storm, which not only dumps a tremendous torrential downpour, but it rages against this British column.
One redcoat recalls the fury of this perfect storm.
Our column was completely dispersed, as if it had received a total defeat. Some of the men flying for shelter behind walls and buildings, and others falling flat upon the ground to prevent themselves from being carried away. Such was the violence of the wind that two pieces of cannon were fairly lifted from the ground and borne several yards away.
What has started out as a blessing is about to become a catastrophic event of epic proportions.
Biblical
As the hurricane wreaks destruction throughout the burning city, a tornado suddenly appears from the sky and shears through the center of the Capitol. For 2 hours, the immense storm rages through Washington, dousing most of the flames that have turned the Capitol into an inferno.
We now know a tornado actually touches down like the wrathful hand of God from the Old Testament and inflicts more casualties in the middle of that British column than they even suffered in Bladensburg.
When the storm clears out the next day, so do the British. The invasion force returns to Benedict, Maryland, a battered and bewildered unit. Meanwhile, the President and First Lady finally reunite at a roadside tavern. They return to Washington on August 27th and view the devastation. In just 24 hours, a capital that had taken 10 years to build had been reduced to a charred wasteland. The White House is now a smoldering, roofless shell. The Madisons realize that they will never live there again. Dolly's depression turns to bitterness, and the president condemns the British as damned rascals. Madison suppresses his anger by riding through the streets of the charred city. Our good president, observes banker John Barnes, is out animating the troops and encouraging the citizens not to despair.
In some ways, the war was the making of Madison as a president that connected to the people. He always was a brainiac.
Meanwhile, the president at first had been reduced to a charred wasteland.
Let's just leave it
The White
right.
House is now a smoldering, roofless shell.
Where's that one image?
The Madisons realize that they will never live there again.
Okay, your capital burned down. The British came and beat us. And an act of God, a hurricane came and hit Washington, D.C. A tornado went down the middle of Washington, D.C. for 2 hours, pummeled the troops. The rain put out the fire. You saw the troops hightailing it back, right? Bewildered. What the heck just happened? There's a reason why in our country we say, "In God we trust." It's because this country would not be free if it weren't for God. Okay? 4th of July is when we first got our independence, but we got saved by an act of God. You are free because of this act right here. You may have fought and gotten your freedom back in 1776, but it was taken away. But an act of God restored that. Okay? So tomorrow, when you're celebrating your 4th of July, your Independence Day, I want you to think of something. Independence, everybody thinks it means you're free, you're your own God. You're independent, right? You can do anything yourself. You're independent. No. It's independence. Like we talk about being dependent on the Lord. See, we are in dependence on the Lord for our freedom. And much like what's coming here, you see how everything's falling apart in the political realm. God will come and intervene. He did before. In God we trust. Right? That's what it says. In God we trust. Well, it was because of this event. How many of you were taught this in school? Put it in the chat. I don't care if you're lurking or not. You put in the chat if you were taught the War of 1812 in school and the significance of your real freedom. Anybody was taught the War of 1812 and how a miracle, this country is founded on a miracle? Did you know that? The founding fathers knew God was real. A lot of their the laws and the formulations of the Bill of Rights, the constitutions, are biblical principles. Your rights are granted by God, not by man, by the way. So if some man comes to try to take your rights away, they're God-given rights. No man can take away your God-given right. All right, but it's important that you guys understand the War of 1812 was a major, major factor in the history of this country. This country would not be free if it weren't for an act of God. A tornado for 2 hours in Washington, D.C. At the same time the troops were there, that's no coincidence. A hurricane hitting Washington, D.C., producing a tornado, putting out the fires, chasing off the British. Yeah, you guys, tomorrow, when you're happy 4th of July to everybody, okay? I'm not knocking the 4th of July. We fought hard against the British to win our independence on that day. But it's good to know that you almost lost that freedom, that independence from the 4th of July back in 1812. And you wouldn't have any kind of freedom or cell phone or computer or any of the niceties that you have right now if it weren't for this act right here. This one very act in the course of history is the reason why you have cell phones, computers, all this wonderful stuff right now. Okay, so tomorrow I will probably not be celebrating because everywhere I go, I get kicked out of. On the 4th of July, I don't know what's wrong with this planet, but no respect. So tomorrow I might just go hide away and let everybody go have their celebration of the 4th of July and Independence Day. But you are not independent. You are in dependence on God. It's in God that we trust here in this country. That's what this country was founded on. Okay? To think about that stuff tomorrow. They're watching the fireworks and Lord, we're fighting hard to foil any attempts to ruin your celebrations tomorrow, because I know people are going to try to attempt stuff tomorrow. And I will fight for you guys, all right? Now, I got a couple of things here for you for your 4th of July weekend. I might go live tomorrow night. I'm not sure. We'll see. So, it's important that you know your freedom was given to you by God. He wanted this country free for a reason. He wanted this country free, not tyranny, not what we have, sedition and mutiny. He wanted his citizens free, didn't he? He wanted his people free. Free, why? Free to practice their religion, their beliefs, free to speak their mind, the freedom of speech. Howdy, folks. Welcome back. Free to take pictures of the clouds like I do and post them on the internet and spread the real true message of the gospel. Okay? A lot of things were set in motion for reasons so we could get to this point. Okay, so you could be here with me while we do these readings. Okay, let me just get a little bit closer right here. I want to go right there. We're just gonna leave this. It's too big, too close in your face. It's better when it's back like that, huh? You see the effect. You get too close and zoomed in on it, you can't see it. You know what we can do is darken it, though. There we go. All right, that's my face in the clouds on Easter. And if you see that and you are fascinated by my face in the clouds, you are caught up with me in the clouds. I am the life and light in abundance. So as you spend time soaking in my presence, we're soaking like in a hot tub, you know, chilling with your friends, got your arms out, we're relaxed, we're soaking in my presence, okay? And then there's also like absorbing it and soaking in my presence, as well as soaking, like bathing and, you know, lollygagging in my presence. Okay, so I am life, light, abundance. So as you spend time soaking in my presence, you are energized and lightened, aren't you? This is the best part of the show. You get energized and lightened. And through communing with me, like we're doing now, you transfer your heavy burdens to my strong shoulders. So go ahead, everybody, take off that backpack right now. The heavy burdens from today, all that stuff that you were carrying around from today, hand it over, give it to me, throw it over my shoulder right now. There you go. Now, by gazing at me up on the screen, you gain my perspective on your life. Okay, so that's why I keep showing this image. The more you look at this image, the more you gain my perspective on your life. Oh, yeah, your kitty. Kitty's back. Okay. This time alone with me is essential for unscrambling your thoughts and smoothing out the day before you, or the day that we just had, right? Eventually, we're going to be praying at night before we go to bed about tomorrow's worries. You're going to pray them away before you even go to bed the night before. So when you wake up, your heavy burdens will have already been transferred to my shoulder right at the break of day. Okay. And then again, gazing at me, you gain my perspective on your life. This time alone with me is essential for unscrambling your thoughts and smoothing out your day. So be willing to fight for this precious time with me. Opposition comes in many forms: your own desire to linger in bed, the evil one's determination to distract you from me, the pressure of family, friends, and your own inner circle to spend your time more productively. All right. Whoops. And your own inner critic. My bad. Can't read my own writing here. The pressure of family, friends, and your own inner critic, okay, to spend your time more productively. Be willing to fight for all that, okay? Fight for this precious time. Fight for your own desire to linger in bed. Fight against that. Fight against the distractions from the evil one. Fight against pressure from family and friends. Fight against pressure from your own inner critic. Because all of those guys are trying to tell you not to spend your time with me. So when you spend your time with me, it's more productive. Now, as you grow in your inner desire, as you grow in your desire to please me, above all else, you gain strength to resist these opponents. So delight yourself in me, for I am the deepest desire of your heart. And I got a kitty over here just talking up a storm. I think he wants to go outside. So let me go see real quick. What's up, Bubba? Are we going out? Or are you ready to treat? Oh, we're here. Oh, I think I know what you're doing. So interesting cat here. I have kind of gotten stuck with a cat here, and in the process of kind of adopting. You just take in a stray. It's not a stray cat. It was our family cat. I just got stuck with him, but learning. I had to go through YouTube, find out little intricacies about cats and stuff, and they kind of talk a little bit. And this little guy. Hi, Harvey. You gonna come in? You can be part of the show. Right before I do the show, I go outside and do some praying. And he's gotten used to my routine. He knows when he sees me setting up. And then when I go outside to do prayers, he likes to come outside. And last night, he starts meowing like crazy. And my mom comes out, is he okay? And I jump up, is he okay? The cat was praying. He was mimicking me praying. He was just meow, 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 meow. So very interesting behavior out of the animals too. Now, back to where we were. You gain strength as your desire to please me above all else. So, let me show you my way for each day. I guide you continually so you can relax and enjoy my presence in the present. Okay? So, I guide you continually so you can relax. Okay? This is about relaxing. We've seen a bunch of disturbing stuff that's all true, and it can get to your mind. This is how you're going to stand in the last days, is by practicing these disciplines I'm teaching you so you can relax and enjoy my presence in the present moment. Living well is both a discipline and an art. Okay? So we're trying to live well with the help of Jesus. So living well is both a discipline and an art. Concentrate on staying close to me, the divine artist, and discipline your thoughts to trust me as I work my ways in your life. Okay? That's what's going on in your life. Is me working my ways in your life. Okay? And it's called living well. So living well is a discipline and an art. You have to concentrate on staying close to me. You have to discipline your thoughts to trust me. Pray about everything. Then leave the outcomes up to me. Okay? Sometimes through the course of my day, I go through things so fast, so quickly, I forget to pray before it. And then I end up having to go back over and do something a second time. If I had just slowed down, disciplined my thoughts, prayed about it first, and then just let the outcome go, everything would be fine. So it's important for you to pray about everything and then leave the outcomes up to me. Do not fear my will, do not fear my will, because through it I accomplish what's best for you. Okay? You might not like it, kind of like your dad does a tough love or your mom does a tough love thing. It's what's best for you, but you just don't like it at the moment, right? So it's that kind of scenario, that kind of situation. And it's okay. I'm not here to harm you. It's to strengthen you, to give you peace so you can relax. But it's also, you have to work at it. It's a discipline. It's an art. You have to concentrate on staying close to me. You have to pray about everything and then leave the outcomes up to me. That's what's a hard one, because you pray about something and then you're expecting a certain outcome from a certain prayer, but the outcome is different. It still answered your prayer. It did. It still answered your prayer in a way you didn't see. The outcome was a little bit different, but it was better for you. So pray about everything and leave the outcomes up to me. Do not fear my will. I use it to accomplish what's best for you. So it's important that you take a deep breath and dive into the depths of absolute trust in me. Underneath are my everlasting arms. So pretty soon, there's not going to be anybody you can trust. There's not going to be any refuge. There's only going to be one place. So take a deep breath and dive into the depths of absolute trust in me. The more you trust me, the better this works. The more joy, the more peace you get, the more overcoming. You guys are conquering stuff left and right now, aren't you? You guys are just out there going day to day, conquering. You're salvaging over and over in one day. Some of you now have experienced this, where you've gotten so used to going through a day, having to salvage maybe once or twice, or sometimes 3 times, many times a day. You've gotten used to the practice of salvaging your day, and then a day comes up where you don't have to do it, where there's no salvage work at all. It's just like this dead, dull day. Doesn't it feel dead and dull when you're not doing salvage work every day? I mean, you do get a day of peace, or it might seem peaceful or whatever, but once you get into this practice, this discipline, and then a day comes where you don't have to practice it at all, that day kind of seems dull and boring. That's how your life was before you started practicing. You'll see once it happens. So some of you, it's already happened, I know, so that's why I had to mention it. But back to where we were. So we have this problem of judging one another and judging ourselves, don't we? And that's something we got to kind of break that habit. So my children make a pastime of judging one another and themselves, but I am the only capable judge. I have acquitted you here at this channel. That means you, even in replay. I have acquitted you through my own blood. Your acquittal came at the price of my unparalleled sacrifice. That is why I am highly offended when I hear my children judge one another or indulge in self-hatred. Indulging in self-hatred. Yeah, that pity party. Stop doing that. Come on now. Pull yourself out of that pity party. Pull your bootstraps up. Start practice some of these principles. Because I am offended when I hear my children judge one another and indulge in self-hatred. I'm really going to shatter your heart right now. I'm sorry, but when I go to a chat room, I see my children judging one another all over the chat room. Oh, you guys are just like, the chat room is like the judge room. You guys never chat or talk about anything. You're too busy judging each other in the chat rooms. It's so offensive. I'm highly offended when I see my children judging one another and indulging in self-hatred. And the people that self-hate this country too, that are Americans. Oh, I hate America. If you're an American and you hate America, you can leave. You can get out. There's no one forcing you to stay here. So I get offended when I see my children judge one another. Stop doing that, you guys. It's better for your own brain, okay? It's a bad habit that we all have, okay? It's hard to break. It's really, really, really hard to break. So just when you start to judge someone, see if you can catch yourself. Stop doing it and go, ooh, dang it, wow. I was judging someone. And then you'll catch yourself doing it again and again and again. You're like, holy, that's all I've been doing this whole time is I got to stop doing that. All right. Because everybody is just so wrapped up in judging what they see on the news, judging what they hear from this, judging what they're seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting. You're all a judge of, the information that's coming in. And you judge one another. And you judge yourself, and you indulge in self-hatred. Well, there's a spirit in there that likes love, not hatred. So when you hate that spirit inside you that loves you, well, that's pretty counterproductive, don't you think? So, if you live close to me and absorb my word, the Holy Spirit will indeed guide and correct you as needed. That's the point we're trying to get to, is when you see that you're judging or indulging in self-hatred, catch yourself when you're doing it, stop doing it. See how many times a day you can catch yourself judging something or someone or something, because that's all we basically do in life is just, oh, the price on that's too high. Oh, I didn't like the color of that car. Oh, this didn't look good. I didn't like that. That's too weird. This is too hot. It's too cold. We're judging. So, see if you can catch yourself doing it. Try to break that habit. Remind yourself that when you are judging one another, I'm highly offended when you do that. You're judging me. Did you know that? When you're judging someone else, you're judging me. So stop doing it. I get offended. That's the only thing that offends me is when you guys start doing that stuff. And the self-hatred, the, oh, poor me, I got it so bad. Really? Are you bleeding out right now? Your body's shattered? Because my body's shattered. I'm bleeding out. I'm in excruciating pain. It's like a struggle to get to the truck and, open up the door and crawl in the truck. So unless you're living like that and you're still judging people, that's still wrong. Okay? If you live close to me and absorb my word, the Holy Spirit will guide and correct you as needed. So sometimes we need correction, right? That's the Holy Spirit inside you. Try accessing it. It really works. And then one last little note. Remember this, there is no condemnation for those who belong to me. When you worship me in spirit and truth, you join with choirs of angels who are continually before my throne. Did you guys know that? When you worship me in spirit and truth, okay, that's what this is about, spirit and truth. You guys, there is no truth left in this world. There's hardly any spirit left in this world either. So, when you worship me, it gives you that spirit and the truth. When you have that spirit and you have that truth in you, you do indeed join in with choirs of angels who are continually before my throne. Even though you can't hear their voices, your praises and thanksgivings are distinctly audible in heaven. Did you know that? Your praises, your thanksgivings are audible in heaven. So maybe you should be careful in your thanksgivings. Make sure you're giving thanks. Make sure you're praising. Because everything's heard up in heaven. Your petitions are also heard. But it's your gratitude that clears the way to my heart. Okay? So, when you're praying, one of my favorite things to do when I pray is go through a gratitude list of the whole day. Lord, thank you. I started off sore this morning, but finally you relieved the pain and you gave me strength to get in the truck today. Thank you for that. Thank you for the food that we had today. We went and got groceries. Thank you for helping give me the strength to make it through the grocery store. Thank you for the food that we had. You sacrificed your body so that we could eat. Thank you for that. It's when you give Thanksgiving first, all the little things that you're really thankful for. Come on now. Think of things that you're really thankful for, not just this lame old grocery list of, thankful for the sun and the grass and the air and the water. And no, you're not. Be thankful, okay? You start your prayers with a thankful and then petition. Okay, your petitions are heard, but it's your gratitude that clears the way. The gratitude clears the way to my heart. So first, clear the way to my heart with your gratitude, and then petition me. It works a lot better that way. How would you like to be petitioned? Some of you are parents, and your kids come up to you with probably the one thing you don't want to do. Can you take me 50 miles to the other town and then wait there 4 hours while I get my friends and then we all come back or something like that, right? So that would be something that you would dread to do. And with gratitude, it's not so hard to do. What's the point I was trying to get there? Oh, Lord, thank you. Thank you for taking that one away. All right. Though you cannot hear their voices, your praise and thanksgivings are audible. Your thanksgivings clear the way to my heart. Then you can petition. With the way between us wide open now, my blessings fall upon you in rich abundance. So when you thank, then you petition, then your blessings come in rich abundance. The greatest blessing is nearness to me. The greatest blessing really is this show right now at this moment. This is the greatest blessing, being in my presence, soaking in my presence, finding that peace that transcends everything, knowing that your petitions are heard. But Thanksgiving clears the way first, then your petitions. Because when you do that, the way between us is wide open. My blessings fall upon you in rich abundance. The greatest blessing is nearness to me, and abundant joy and peace is in my presence. So, right now is your best blessing because you're near me and you're enjoying abundant joy. You're finding peace in my presence. So practice praising and thanking me continually throughout each day. It's good for your mental health. And that was it for that session right there. Yep. So just a couple last things here. Make you guys feel comfortable. I know tomorrow's going to be a very big day and full of all sorts of opportunities and stuff. Just remember, when you're thinking about your freedom, why you have it, who gave it to you, what your God-given rights are, not your Bill of Rights, not what man gives you, what God-given rights you have. We're living in the moment. We're salvaging our day if it goes sour. We help other people salvage their day with the tools that we're using here. Try to pray about everything. Leave the outcomes to me. Try not to judge one another. When you catch yourself judging, chalk it down, count them up, keep track. See how much judging you really did, that you do on a daily basis. Because it's appalling, really. And when you catch yourself doing it, you're just going to go, oh my goodness, I was doing it there. I was doing it there. I've been doing this all the time. I did not know I was doing that. And then once we break that habit, you've lived freely. You live more at peace in your heart because you're not judging everybody all the time. And you're not so caught up in your self-hatred. If I love you, why don't you? I know every little flaw about you, and I still love you. So go ahead. It's okay to love yourself. Stop with the self-hatred. Don't indulge in self-hatred. Worship me in spirit and truth. When you trust in me, you grow in strength. Yeah. The other one I wanted. Yeah, and time alone with me is essential for unscrambling your thoughts and smoothing out the day. Okay. As you lay down before you go to bed at night, go over a little thankful list in your head. Thank you, Lord, for this day and that. Well, all the different things that you saw throughout the day. There was an interaction with somebody that you hadn't seen in a while. You made a new friend. You saved an animal. You did something today. There was something special about each day. Every day is filled with all kinds of treasures. If you can notice them, pick them out. Notice the blessings. Thank them. Before you go to bed, pray. Give me rest, peaceful rest, so that tomorrow I won't, stress out. And pretty soon we'll work into getting ready mentally for the day tomorrow by praying the night before. Okay, you're going to do your thankful list of all the things of that day, and then we'll work on our prayers as to, give me rest, Lord, give me peace. I want tomorrow to be with you again, and we will, we'll treasure each day instead of dreading each day. Okay, so that's what we got got to try to get to, is treasuring each day instead of dreading moments, during the day, or dreading the whole day, So that's it for tonight. Happy Independence Day. Be in dependence on the Lord, and you will live a much happier life. Okay. Don't be an independent God yourself. You won't, you won't find it. You find it in Jesus. Okay. So I want you guys to think about your freedom, where it came from, why you have it, how we celebrate the 4th of July, but we don't celebrate the War of 1812. So while you're saying God bless America tomorrow, remember, God bless America tomorrow, okay? Because that's why you're free. That's why you're free. It was an act of God. All right? So everybody have a happy 4th of July, and I might see you tomorrow night. We'll see. All right? It depends on how I'm feeling after tomorrow's battle, because everybody gets to have fun tomorrow, and tomorrow's my big battle, right? So if I got enough energy at the end of it, I'll try to go live for you guys. You'll probably all be passed out after the fireworks anyways. No, not this side, but yes, I'm coming, Kitty. Kitty says goodnight to you guys as well. All right. I love you all. I miss you all. So does Herbie. He misses you guys too. Until my next show, I will be back. I am already back. And I am still to come. Love you all. Bye.